All right. What is going on, everyone? Welcome into the Fantasy Coaches Podcast. This is your host, Steve Pintato, and we're doing things a little differently now. If you watched last week's episode, kind of going to introduce everybody one at a time here. I apologize in advance for my light. I changed my location a little bit in my house here, and it obviously isn't a great idea, but no time to fix that now. So as always, bring in our co-host, Jibs. What's going on, man?
It's going good. Nice Thursday evening. I'm ready to talk some fantasy for another fabulous week. And I'm ready to rock out with our fantastic guest we have today.
Yes, Jibs is right. We do have two very fantastic guests today. Like I said, if you guys didn't see our Twitter comment earlier today, we see, I've seen a lot of things on Twitter over the last 2 years since I've been very active on there. And I've seen a lot of, positive vibes to women in the fantasy world. So, I figured, we had to have a whole month and bring on a ton of female guests on and talk about, how powering it is to be a female in the fantasy world here and why, we should embrace this and how they're amazing. And I've seen these two ladies and what they've done in their content, and they're fantastic. And that's why I had to bring them on to start the month off here, Women in Fantasy Sports. So I'm going to start with our first guest, Victoria. Welcome to the show today.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. Seriously, I'm so stoked. And the list of guests that you have for the rest of the month are outstanding. Can't wait to see the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. And let everyone know, kind of what you're doing in the industry right now and, where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can find me at FFB_Victoria. I'm doing content for BallBlast football and Football Guys. Just updated my rankings, PPR and non-PPR, actually, for Football Guys. Check those out. And, exciting stuff.
Absolutely. And then our guest number 2 is Linda. Linda, welcome to the show today.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I'm so glad I get to share the stage with Victoria. There's probably nobody. We've, done podcasts where we've, chatted about life, but we haven't got to, get down and dirty in the fantasy football part of it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Victoria was very excited when she saw Linda, and she was Linda, and I'm like, yes, it's that Linda. So
yeah, I got a text from her. She was like, we're doing a show together. Are we?
We are now. Linda, as well as you, let everyone know kind of what you do in the industry and where they can find you on social media.
Oh my God, the list goes on. But Monday night, I do a show with some guys I met through Scott Fishbowl last year. It's a Fantasy Besties podcast, and you can find them on Twitter at Fantasy Besties. Monday night, we're giving away a Scott Fish 11 invite. So if you haven't gotten in and you're signed up, check out our page to see how you can get in on that. And then Wednesdays with Troy and John Bauer and Mitch Sorensen, I do Fantasy Football Confidential at 9 Eastern, and we have a pretty good time, and we've had some pretty great guests over the last several weeks. So
that's awesome. Like I said, guys, 2 fantastic guests on the show for today. So we're going to ask you guys a couple questions to kind of start the show off, and then we'll get into our main topics for the day. First off, why do you ladies love fantasy football? Tell everyone why you guys love it.
You want to take this one first?
Sure. I love being trolled online personally. Just kidding. That's the not fun part. Sorry. Well, that's the later answer. No, I'm a CPA. I'm an accountant. I love numbers, and I feel like that's what drew me to it at first. At one of my last jobs here in Texas, my boss was like, we need one more person for our league. We need to do it. I'm like, I just watched the Bills. I don't know what I want to do. And he's like, just join. I said, okay, the Bills are going to suck this year. So might as well get into other teams where it'll be fun. I can get to know them, etc. So it's basically to heal my pain of being a Bills fan. Obviously, I don't need that anymore. Heyo. Just kidding. We only had one good season. I know. I get it. But yeah, that's why I love it. I love the competition too. I'm sure Linda can speak to that. I'm very competitive, sometimes to a fault. So
yeah, I would say that the competitiveness is what keeps bringing me back. Because unlike Victoria, I don't like numbers at all. I look at them because I have to. They make me want to cry and pull my hair out. So. But I've always loved football and really got into fantasy before I got into the NFL because my dad needed an extra player in a league. and he drafted for me because I was working like 12-hour shifts waiting tables. I was like, I can't draft a fantasy football league. He's like, I'll do it. You just have to do it afterwards. And like beating people that I didn't know from his work league was fun. So it just like amplified beating my buddies from my hometown and shit. Oh, sorry. Hope I can say that.
No,
You're
you can,
good,
you can
definitely.
curse, do whatever. No, R-rated here. It is what it is. So, but no, fantastic answers, ladies. Like I said, I honestly could say similar things. Honestly, when I first started fantasy football too. So there's no real difference there. But one of the biggest reasons I wanted to bring you ladies on is because I've seen over the last, like I said, couple years, and I've seen some of the bad things about females in the fantasy industry and how sometimes you guys get a negative rap, which I don't understand. Both you ladies are very highly intelligent who put out really great content. So for those, females coming into the industry who want to make a mark of their own here, what kind of advice could you give them that would help them out in the beginning?
Oh man, that's such a loaded question. Because like the immediate answer is to be like, ignore everybody and like fade all the bullshit that you get in your replies, but you're not going to get respect. And like we've talked about this when Vic did her thing on Clubhouse, the panel of women, and like that being confident in a take, you're gonna get called a bitch sometimes. And like I'm not projecting, but I would guess that neither of you have ever been called a bitch because you backed up your take. I've been told to like drop my attitude, like shit like that, just for saying like on my side of the argument for putting myself out there. So you can't ignore everything because you have to have some pushback. But I think finding like a nice home to come back to when Twitter gets too loud with strangers, like Vic and Cooter Doodle and Steph and I have a group chat that when Twitter is too much or we need to rant about something without making a huge deal of it, we'll just send it there and say our piece and we can move on. Now sometimes that ends up being all four of us attacking, but sometimes we just go, it's not worth it. But it's really important to find, I think, a home base to always come back to.
Absolutely. Yeah, I echo that sentiment. That would just be find your people once you get here, because there are so many great people that the bad and the ugly kind of overshadow a lot of the time. But there are some fantastic people on this app. So find your people. Dive in head first, I would say. Every single thing that I took on was completely out of my comfort zone and something I had never done before, and everything was a little scary and intimidating at first, but like a guest spot on a podcast, if you're wanting to get in and you're nervous to do it, just jump in and get on. You don't need a fancy microphone or anything like that. Just hop in and try. And that would be my main advice. And like Linda said, it's hard to, you have to have a thick skin to be a female on this app. It's not for the weak. As Steph had mentioned to me today, this app is not for the weak. So
no, again, that's fantastic advice, ladies. Really do appreciate that. And then one last question real quick before we get started here. Favorite sports team and how many leagues are you guys in?
Oh boy. Favorite sports team at all?
Favorite football team. I'm sorry, football team.
Football. Okay.
I know you're Bills fans. I hate that, Victoria, but
obviously. Squish the fish, baby. Just kidding. Yeah, of course it's the Bills. How many leagues I'm in, I have no idea. I try not to do so many where I cannot manage them, but it's getting harder it gets hard to say no when you've got people in your DMs like, hey, we just set up this $25. I'm like, oh, $25? That's nothing. Or all the best ball stuff going on. So I couldn't even tell you right now how many I'm in, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, I'm a Broncos fan if we're talking strictly NFL, but probably if I like had to whittle it down, Oklahoma State football is definitely where all my homage goes to. But I don't know how many leagues I'm in. Too many. Last year, not including best ball or Scott Fishbowl, I was in 33, both redraft and dynasty. So
Wow.
See, Jibs,
I'm not a lot.
I don't have an issue.
You're a saint. God bless.
I had like 20 last year, and Jib said I had issues. So
yeah, well, I wouldn't like use me as like a good comparison to judge maybe your addiction, but if you want to, it's fine.
See, that just encourages me. Like, well, if Linda has 33, then I can get like another 4 and I should be okay still. So Jibs, we're about to start a couple more leagues up now, man.
All right, yeah, start 4. It'll be 10 more by September comes. Tell you that one.
Troy King jumping in here.
Oh, hey, we were waiting. Where's the what's up, y'all? Oh, he did say
nah.
he did say y'all. I see it.
Y'all. We had Troy King on a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, he was a great time. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Great dude.
it's his favorite day of the week.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Thursday.
true.
TikTok videos. I checked those out. It was great. Troy King. All right, let's get started with our today topics of the day. News wise, there's really not much to talk about. I mean, there's a whole bunch of hype going on right now. Rex Burkhead joins the crazy 12 RB system in Houston. My boy Daz Newsome, the rookie from Chicago, broke his collarbone, out 8 weeks. Delaney Walker is making an appearance again in life, working out for the 49ers. I mean, there's just a bunch of hype right now. You gotta don't go too crazy about it, but yes, Thirsty Thursdays, Troy. There's really not too much in terms of news going on until maybe Julio Jones gets traded maybe in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see about that. But our main topic today, guys, is faith or not and final straw. Basically talking about some of the young players who may not have performed to their standard over the last couple seasons. And do we have faith in them still, basically? And some guys who are at the edge of that, it's now or never, or it's never really going to happen. So we're going to start with the 2020 class this past year. 2 former first rounders here, Henry Ruggs and Jalen Reagor. Both guys never really lived up to that round 1 potential that you saw guys like Justin Jefferson kind of explode last year. But who do you guys expect to kind of bounce back? Or maybe both of them bounce back? Linda, we'll let you go first on this one.
Man, I don't know that either has like super bounce back ability. I am not the Hertz truther that Miss Vic is, so I won't speak on that. But I am a little concerned about the passing volume in that offense. And after they drafted Smith, I think that, and everybody's got all these high expectations for Goddard. I just think the passing volume in that offense makes me a little nervous. So, and Ruggs is like so cheap. And while I'm not super high on any of the targets on that offense besides Waller, if I'm going to draft one, it's definitely Ruggs because of the discount that you can get on him now.
Okay, no, love the take there. Victoria, you're on the opposite side, it seems like here, possibly. Is it Reagor for you?
No, actually, surprisingly, they're both like Linda said. I'm not sure if they can come out from the fire there this year. I think I'd hang my hat on the Ruggs side. I'd rather have a flyer and John Brown, honestly, though, on that team. I know he's new and Ruggs may know the system more, but I think John Brown's going to be sneaky this year as a late round target. Ruggs was just that boom. When you say boom or bust, that's Henry Ruggs. He is boom or bust. His floor is nothing or, an okay game. But I was just looking up his targets. He only had 43 targets and 26 receptions last year, which is kind of wild. I was expecting. I'm not a Ruggs fan, so I didn't know that, but I was expecting a little bit more than that. Neither of these players excite me at all, but I'd rather take the flyer on Ruggs talent wise. And Reagor was hurt a lot of the year last year, so I don't know. I like Smith so much better, and like Linda already mentioned, Goddard is one of my guys as well this year, so that's probably where most of the targets are going. And the Eagles have a pretty tough schedule to start out the season. They have the easiest strength of schedule, but their schedule to start is pretty tough. So,
boy, Jibs knows all about that Eagles schedule, I'm sure, off the bat here. So we got to for Ruggs so far, but Jibs, are you joining the ladies on Ruggs, or are we going the opposite direction here?
It depends what you're like asking about. Like if it's like if I had to bet the line on like me drafting an A or B player for a redraft league, I'm gonna go with Ruggs because I'd rather just take Smith. But I'm more optimistic for Jalen Reagor just because they're gonna move him to the slot, and then you definitely have at least a pretty good talent in Devontae Smith outside the correspond some defense and take some coverage away. So I'd like those 2 moves, to be frank, but it's apples and oranges. They're both kind of like the same speedster, deep threat kind of player, but the Raiders is Waller, and then obviously Nelson Aguilar is gone, so it could bump up Henry Ruggs' opportunity. So I think he has a better shot for bouncing back, but I'm gonna go with my man still.
All right, I think I'm going to join you there, Jibs, unfortunately. Like I said, both these players, they're obviously going to see an increase in targets this coming season here. They both were under 50 targets at least, and they're likely going to increase this coming season. But with Ruggs, for me, that boomer bust thing kind of scares me to way too much. I feel like either he's going to go for a long bomb, and that's really it. I don't see him ever being that guy who's going to be, taking those slant routes, going things across the middle of the field, because they have Darren Waller. They have Braylon Edwards, who's supposedly going to step up. They brought in John Brown this coming season here, and then you bring a guy like Kenyon Drake in to make the run game. I'm not really sure what they're doing with that, but I just can't see him as a guy who you could ever feel confident to start on a week-to-week basis because of that boomer bust situation. Where Rager, I think he still has an opportunity. One thing I really like about a wide receivers is their route running, and Rager coming in had a really strong route running ability when I saw on film, at least. And I think if he can get things going, while I still like Devontae Smith better, he's going to see the lesser of the coverage and have that opportunity maybe to kind of show that talent that he was a first rounder. Again, the injury prone thing, hopefully that doesn't linger. But I'm going to have to go Rager on this one myself.
I'd like to start a petition to abolish the term, like, you're not going to feel confident about that, because you're talking about a dude that you're getting as a flex option or a wide receiver 3. And you name me a couple, besides Cortland Sutton right now, who's falling insanely far in drafts, there's not a single wide receiver 3 that I'm confident about starting. We are guessing, educated guesses, but confidence does not, I think that's a bad barometer for how you pick fantasy players.
I just think we always
like, never mind, I don't want to play anymore.
We always tend to have our favorite like wide receiver 3s, like our go-to options in drafts. But like, I'm not gonna be like taking up the discount bag, the Ben and Ruggs and Rager though. Like,
no, both.
Sorry.
No, they both have that boomer bust potential. That's for sure. So,
if you're considering Corey Davis as a wide receiver 3, I would be all up on that though.
That's a consistent option.
Not gonna lie, but we'll move on.
Put consistency up there. I like that. All right, over to the next one here. And these are a lot of round 2 wide receivers that really never took that next step in year 1. I mean, you could say Chenault had more of a success than a lot of these guys, but KJ Hamler, Tre'Vicious Chenault, Van Jefferson, Denzel Mims, and Brian Edwards, even though he's a 3rd round pick. None of these guys really lived up to that round 2 hype, whatever that hype that had in the offseason here. Which one of these guys do you have faith that could kind of make that jump still? Victoria, we'll let you go first on this one.
I'm going to start off by saying I hope one of y'all pick Chenault so I can hear your take on that, because I feel like the community itself is very high on Laviska Chenault for this season, and I'm not understanding it or seeing it. I've read a couple articles. I always try to see the other side because I don't want to be uneducated on the player. So I hope one of you pick him. If you don't, that's okay. But out of this group, I'd probably go Mims here, which is gross because, he's on the Jets offense, fine, but they have brand new everything. Brand new coaching staff, brand new guys on the offensive side, the defensive side of the ball. He is a talented route runner, very, very, very talented dude, and just didn't really get a shot last year. So if he's got Corey Davis on the opposite side of him, I think that he has a really good shot to produce this year. It all will lie on, of course, Zach Wilson and how he performs. But I think out of this group, I think I'm the highest on Mims for sure.
No, I love that there because I'm going to talk about him in a little bit. But Linda, you're on next.
I wholeheartedly agree about it being Mims. I will say on Chenault, I feel this very similar to you in that, like, everybody is super high on any piece of the Jaguars offense. And I don't trust Urban Meyer further than I can throw a basketball. Okay. I don't even know that he makes it a full year at this point. I'm so out on that offense because I'm so terrified of what happens. He's running backs at wide receiver routes. He's giving, who knows? I took Marvin Jones today in the 18th round because for all I know, ends up the wide receiver 1. And so I'm not touching anybody that, especially a gadget guy like Chenault, they already have James Robinson. Now they've brought in ETN. Like, that's taking half of what's glorious about Chenault away. I'm good on Chenault. So sorry if I did the exact opposite of what you asked me to do.
Okay, that's okay.
That's epic.
I just tweeted though. They just quoted Urban Meyer saying DJ Chark was quote a big guy who played little last year. Who says that?
Wow.
That's so mean.
So hard.
Great
I mean, that
analysis.
tells you something about DJ Shark, though. Urban Meyer is saying that, though. I take the bad things
Oh my God.
Urban
serious
Meyer.
a little bit there.
Fucking ding.
I want to see
All
his first press conference.
Seriously, piece of work. It's like, is that a compliment? I don't
Yeah.
think so.
I'm
That's
gonna
just
marinate on that one.
last year to me.
Yeah, yeah. What do you guys think?
Jibs, who do you got on this? I'm not sure who you have. I don't know.
I love the Mims, but I don't want to go there. I'm gonna go with Van Jefferson just because like so many people left town. I know it's gonna be the Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp show, but Josh Reynolds last year got 60 plus targets, so that's definitely gonna outbeat his production last year. So as basically as the question is phrased, like I think he can make a step up from his year one production.
All right, I love the
The
take.
quarterback, everything is looking nice for him. And like
That's
you read Twitter, oh, Matt Stafford threw a laser to Van Jefferson in the end zone. It's like, okay, but you can't buy into all that crap.
No, I love buying into that crap. It's my favorite part of the offseason.
I try so hard not to listen to it, but I get so excited. I'm like, yes.
Oh man, just
Well, he's
any
all
kind
right.
of football.
Yeah.
Give me.
Well, unfortunately, I really don't have another person outside of Denzel Mims. I'm on the same page with Denzel Mims. The one thing I really liked about Denzel Mims, the one stat I found was that, Denzel Mims, he kind of was that downfield, field stretcher type of wide receiver coming out of college here. And one thing with Zach Wilson, who obviously I'm in somewhat fantasy love with, the balls that he threw 30 plus yards, he threw 20 of 27, 74% completions. That was 1% better than Joe Burrow did his 2019 season. So Zach Wilson can get the ball downfield. And if Denzel Mims, as long as he can stay healthy this year, I think that was his biggest issue with the health. He's in, I think, for a pretty big season here that people seem to be continuing to kind of sleep on. Vic, unfortunately, I don't have anything nice to say about Laviska Shenault. Jibs kind of knows about that. Hated him last year as well. I did not. I was bashing him last year. I did not see him as a strong wide receiver in fantasy. Maybe a good wide receiver in terms of for the team, but not for fantasy. But none of these other guys really, for me personally, stand out outside of Mims. So. And now we're going to go over to Vic. You're one of your players here, Zach Moss, a beloved Zach Moss of the Buffalo Bills here. But Jibs, we're letting you go first on this one, unfortunately, here. So does Zach Moss take the next step and join this amazing 2020 running back class?
Nope. And it's just like I like the talent. I'm like, sorry, Vic, but like just
Don't be sorry. Do
situation
not be
sucks.
sorry.
So like you have Stephon Diggs, like this man gets like 160 targets. He's like literally the engine of the offense. Obviously, Josh Allen is super efficient whenever like he's passing like plus 300 yards, and then when he does get in the end zone, I feel like if those running backs aren't getting a touchdown within the 10-yard line, they're screwed because Josh Allen could either throw it in or do like a nice little fade to a tight end typically. So, and then he's splitting work with Devin Singletary. If he can overtake the job and become like a majority like leader, I'm talking like 65% share of rushing duties plus, there's no shot it's happening. It's just going to be another middle end. You're basically getting, if you combine them, I think it would be a good running back, but like you're getting two like low running back 3/4s. But you got to hit on those kind of players and late in the drafts, and they kind of do give you value for your team. So you got to take your chances, but I'm not taking my chances with them.
All right, Jibs. Nice negative talk about Zach Moss. Okay, there. Linda, we're going to let you go next on this one. What about Zach Moss?
I feel pretty similar. Neither running back really excites me because Josh Allen is the goal line back, and that's like my favorite. That's a thing you want out of your running backs. So I don't draft Chiefs running backs. They're not regularly on the goal line because Pat Mahomes is throwing 20-yard touchdown passes. And when they do get to the goal line, Andy Reid draws up some funky play where Pat Mahomes is the one catching the touchdown. So it's a thing I tend to fade, but I kind of a zero running back truther. I'm not like
Ooh.
I'm not like just
Whoa.
I'm not like toxic about it. I'm more like a robust running back. Like I'll take my first one and then I'll just like wait forever and I'll load up on dudes like Zach Moss and Philip Lindsay and all these guys that are essentially free, especially in like Dynasty, that are essentially free that I can throw into the lineup if I need an RB2. But I prefer to stack up on my wide receivers. So I love him for that factor because I'll end up with a lot of Zach Moss in later rounds.
I tend to do the same thing, Linda. I tend to draft one running back and then figure it out from there for the rest of the time. Exactly. Vic, are you going to be the truther of this Zach Moss situation here, or are you with everyone else so far?
I'm not, honestly, not going to be the truth there. I'm not. Obviously, I'm a big Bills fan, but I can't be blindsided. That's not what a good fantasy player does. So, I mean, Bills ranked 25th in the league last year in yards gained solely by running backs. So they probably had a better stat if you included Josh Allen in that statistic, right? And they also had the 4th highest percentage of runs that were stuffed for 0 or negative yardage yet. So that's an O-line and a running back problem. I just don't see a world where, as you guys already mentioned, Moss being on the goal line as much as we need him to be to fill that running back to void that we need on our teams. That being said, I have the fantasy football calculator ADP up for half PPR redraft. He's going in the realm of Philip Lindsay, Zach Moss, Tony Pollard, J.D. McKissick, Nyheim Hines. Would you guys take a shot on him there over any of those dudes? Or are you still like, nah, I'd rather just take maybe Tony Pollard as a handcuff?
I literally have handfuls of all 5 of those running backs.
I'd probably take Pollard. I'd rather have that opportunity that Zeke gets hurt or something and Pollard jumps in than have Zach Moss for the entire season.
Yeah. It's very tough. I don't see myself having very many shares of Moss there because too this is in the 8th or late 8th to the 9th round of a redraft, and there's other wide receivers here that are valuable. There's tight ends here that are valuable. You can take a quarterback late here. I don't see myself really having him in very many leagues this year unless it's like he drops so far where the value is just
exactly
okay. So
that's how I feel about it too. Like I said, my biggest thing about Zach Moss is that he's got talent to him to some extent, but it's the injuries. And I obviously, Jibbs knows this. I hate running backs with injury problems. And when he was coming out of college, injury thing was a big red flag already. And then he gets injured his first year in the league. So I just can't trust a guy like that who's had injury history already to stay healthy for an entire season here, even with him splitting time. So I'm out on Zach Moss too. So that's 0 for 4 for Zach Moss. Sorry, buddy, man.
Coming strong from the Devin Singletary truther. Former
Devin Singletary truther. That was bad last year. I really messed that one up. So
that's okay. Everybody messed up on him.
This year, I don't know who my guy is this year. I don't know. I'll figure that out, but it's definitely not
Devin Singletary was a much better flag plant than all of my Jordan Howard shares, who are still staring at me in disgust.
Oof. I feel that pain as well. Ugh. Jordan Howard really let me down. All right, and one last thing for the 2020 class here. These are some running backs that kind of got drafted later in the draft who, at times had opportunity or thought to have opportunity. And Keyshawn Vaughn, Darrington Evans, Joshua Kelly, LaMichael P. Ryan. Does any of these guys still present some kind of faith in them that they could maybe rebound in this coming season here? Let's see. Linda, you're going to go first on this one.
I gotta tell you,
pass.
It's a strong word.
I don't have a whole lot of thoughts about any of them, which is concerning. Like, if I don't feel strongly one way or the other, then you've faded far enough into the back of my mind that I'm not really worried about you making a huge impression in a fantasy football landscape.
Let's say it was in Dynasty, though, and you need to have one of them on the end of your bench there.
And it's Darrington Evans, probably P. Ryan. Just I But again, it would be like a close your eyes and spin kind of thing. I'm not taking Keyshawn Vaughn anywhere. I'll hard pass on any running back really in Bruce Arians' offense. So, I guess I'll go P. Ryan.
P. Ryan. Now we got one for P. Ryan. I love it. Victoria?
If I had to take one for Dynasty, I'd take Darrington Evans. I'm a bigger Ty Johnson fan than P. Ryan. I don't know. I know I won't spoil the show sheet. I know we'll talk about Jets running backs later, but I'm definitely a bigger fan of Ty Johnson. I think he has a better shot, especially with the reports coming out lately. I don't even think they mentioned P. Ryan's name in one of them that I saw recently, which was kind of weird. Also, Keyshawn Vaughn, Bruce Arians came out and was like, yeah, he's gonna have a shot. Don't believe one freaking thing
Gio
that
Bernard,
man says.
Yeah, right.
That
Do
was the
not.
worst ever.
And I'm with Linda. Don't draft if you can avoid it. Don't draft Bucs running backs. They were just a freaking nightmare last year to decipher who's going to start, kind of like the San Fran backfield too. Joshua Kelly, when he had the shot, he performed very poorly when he had the chance.
Wasn't great.
Yeah, it was not fun.
Bad.
So.
Very bad, very bad.
Yeah.
Jibs, my friend, what about you?
It hurts me to say, like, I was planting my flag on Joshua Kelly and just seeing him grind out 20 carries for 60 yards week after week in the start of the season. Oh my God! But if I had to pick out of those four guys, and I have no faith in all of them in redraft, but I'm gonna go with Darrington Evans in Dynasty. If you look at everyone else's situation, you have 4, 5 running backs. You got Tevin. You got in the Bucs. You got Ronald Jones. You got Leonard Fournette, Keyshawn Vaughn. Keep going. Then Kelly has Eckler. They picked up 2 running backs this year in the draft: P. Ryan, Michael Carter, Devin Coleman. There's just so many mouths to be fed. Meanwhile, you just have Derrick Henry, who's they're gonna run till his wheels fall off, and Evans probably had maybe 30 carries, if anything, last year. His legs are fresh.
Hurt half the season.
So I don't know, but I'm gonna go with Evans if it has to be a dynasty perspective.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat. Evans is the only one that I think at this point, especially in Dynasty, that I'd rather take the shot on right now, because I think if anything, he could have a role in this offense. I know Derrick Henry's there and he's going to have 5,000 carries, but Evans was the opposite back. We were talking about it last year, literally the opposite kind of back of Derrick Henry here. And, everyone's talking about Derrick Henry's decline. If he's going to decline, which I don't believe he's going to decline, that means Darrington Evans, or I think he's the second best running back on this team outside of Henry. He should have an opportunity here to kind of do something. He's not going to be a guy who grinds the ball down the field, but he has that home run threat ability to his game there. And if he sees maybe 5 or 6 carries a game, he could end up taking one of them 50, 60 yards. So if I'm going to hold somebody, I think Darrington Evans is probably on waivers everywhere in Dynasty probably, or if you're a deeper man league in redraft, he's probably the best option out of this bunch here. So he's the faith I'd have left on him. So
I got a buddy that's a P. Ryan truther, so maybe he's just in my head at this point.
I like P. Ryan.
I've heard that name a lot.
I did like P. Ryan coming out last year. It's just that Michael Carter is there now, and I think it's going to be Michael Carter at some point.
Yeah.
At some point. So who knows when. All right.
Off the bat.
Hopefully.
That's what the beat writers are saying right off the bat. Michael Carter is going to be the RB1 for this team. So, all right. So over the 2019 class now, and this one's interesting because I feel like it's one-sided, but maybe not. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But would you rather have right now moving forward, let's say in Dynasty, Mecole Hardman or Paris Campbell right now? Let's see. Victoria, you go first on this one.
Oh, they're both gross again. I think I hate that I'm saying this because I'm out on Hardman, but I think I'd go Hardman here because of the opportunity. I guess Campbell has an opportunity as well. They didn't bring in anyone crazy, but with Wentz there, I feel like he likes to throw to his tight end more, probably the running back a little bit more. Hardman's shown flashes. He just hasn't ever had that consistency. And I think you could get personally more if you were trying to trade for him. I think you could use his name in a trade more get more value than you could with Paris Campbell, to be honest. And if that's because he's a Chief, I guess, then that's fine. But I'd take a flyer on Hardman over Campbell, I think.
And that's a good way to spin it with the trade value too, because you could always just sell them if you don't believe in them. So I like that take there, Victoria. Linda, what about you here? Are you on the same train?
No, God, no. I wouldn't draft McCole Hardman if you paid me. I think like a week ago, I said on a podcast that I'd rather take a flyer on Pringle than McCole Hardman because I feel like he's flashed more than Hardman has. I just don't trust him at all. And like, I think there's a difference between no confidence and absolutely being like, I'm not putting that guy in my lineup. I'm not taking the chance. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to watch him miss huge passes again and again and again, or be outshadowed by other no names on that team. But Victoria's right in that he definitely holds more value when you're talking about him because of the team that he's attached to. But Paris Campbell, Wentz is there, and sure, we've seen his trend is to pass to his tight ends, and maybe they do that all over again. But in the off chance that they don't, the Colts have like 12 tight ends, so who knows? But taking a flyer on a guy in a new offense, or with kind of a new weapon in that offense that is going to dictate things a little bit more, I have no problem. If I'm going to swing on one of them, I guess I'll swing on Paris Campbell.
I'm a new best friend now, Linda. I love it. Love it. Now, Jibs, I already know who you're going to say, so go ahead.
Well,
speak your piece.
It hurts me to say, like, I love Paris Campbell. Like, if he had like a shot last year and didn't get hurt, I think he would have been a hot commodity this year. I'm going to go with Hardman. Just same with like Victoria. Like, it's opportunity. Like, the Colts didn't lose anything on that offense. Like, T.Y. Hilton's still staying there. Zach Pascal's still there. Second leader, wide receiver that was targeted. Michael Pittman emerged late last year. I'm sure they're not going to kick rocks on him either. So they're going to be fighting for playing time there. I'm sure Hardman isn't like the most reputable wide receiver, and he's a gimmick wide receiver. But with the loss of Sammy Watkins, and sure, Brian Pringle could like make some impact, or you could see a little bit of the Demarcus Robinson show. But still, like, with that Chiefs offense, I know they'll probably end up scoring more passing touchdowns than the Colts will due to their rushing prowess. So I'm gonna go with that.
You love Nicole Hardman, man. You just love.
You could have put freaking.
He's your Devin Singletary, man.
He ain't my Devin Singletary. Paris Campbell's gonna get like 50 targets this year, and then we're gonna be scrapping.
Nah, I don't think so. See, that's why I'm on the Paris Campbell side more confidently. And one thing that really stuck out for me was I was listening to a podcast maybe like a week ago, and someone said that if Mecole Hardman at this point of his career, 2 years now, hasn't been able to stay consistent enough on a Chiefs offense, there's something there. Why hasn't he not been able to succeed there over a guy like Sammy Watkins, who just really doesn't have it at that point of his career here? And I think it's because he's not the number 2 on this team, or the number 3 per se. He is, I think, what he is at this point, a gadget guy who has played special teams. And if Tyreek Hill goes down, Mecole Hardman will thrive in that same role that Tyreek Hill plays. And that really stuck out to me because I do really believe in that. With Paris Campbell, I think there's still opportunity for him. Yes, the injuries over the last 2 seasons are not good for him, but Carson Wentz has success with guys in the slot like Greg Ward, who was with the Eagles last year. He succeeded. He's kind of been a name over the last 2 seasons, and Paris Campbell's talent alone is way better than Greg Ward right now, if you could say. So I think if he can at least stay healthy, I think I'd rather take the shot on him because because of the unknown. I think at this point, what you're getting from Mecole Hardman, and it's not great consistent enough. So I'd rather take the shot on a guy like Paris Campbell right now. That's my take on it. So
I like that.
Like write it down and see which one finishes.
Yeah,
that's like my favorite thing to do is like write down verses and then look at it at the end of the season.
Yeah, let's bet it down, Steve.
Bet it down. Yeah, absolutely, man. Paris
Crown
Campbell.
Royal, 1 bottle. Let's get it.
All right, I'm done. Let's do it. That's a bet right there. I'll write it down. All right. So let's keep going here. Let's see where we're at here. All right, this is a fun one here now. So the next guy on our list here is a wide receiver who has definitely flashed and has definitely been good at times. But Deebo Samuel's going into year 3 now, he really came on strong at the end of his rookie year, and he was in and out of the lineup this past season with injuries. But is he ever going to be a guy who can be a reliable option week in and week out, especially with the core that's there now, the switch at quarterback, the run-first offense? Jibs, do you believe in Deebo Samuels to be a guy still? Or is it rather to get out now from him?
I think it's good to get out now. It's kind of be hard to get out now with like his injury concerns and over the last 2 years. But like for me, I think he's going to be like a second, maybe third option behind Kittle, of course. And then like I'm a little higher on Ayuk than others, so like I think like he's just going to be like a low A dot kind of receivers, and we've seen bright moments where Deebo paid up to par, but like he's just not on the field enough. And if you want for him to be a consistent option, like you have to be playing healthy and you got to be in games. You can't just be missing 4 games as a stretch of the season, come back, play for 1, be hurt. So I don't think so. Nothing to do with like his talent or anything. Like he's a phenomenal athlete.
Wow, man. Wow. That's a big shocker right there. I didn't expect that from you. Okay. Let's see. Linda, you're up. Do you believe in the Deebo Samuel life?
I like Deebo Samuel. I think he'll be fine for real football. I think he's great for your real football team. If you're a 49ers fan, you're happy that you have him paired with Ayuk. But I think Ayuk's going to be that wide receiver 1. And like Jib said, then you've got Kittle and that run first offense and a quarterback now that has legs and is a rushing quarterback, has that rushing upside. So I'm probably gonna fade Deebo.
Okay. We got 2 no's on this one. Victoria, are we going to go yes, or are we sticking on this no train right now?
The only reason I'd stick on the no train is I was looking at where he's going near other guys, and there's so many others I'd rather take a flyer on than Deebo. I will bring up a point. I think I was listening, I forget what pod it was, but they referenced that when Deebo came back from injury last season, I think Shanahan was like, we built the game plan for this particular game around Deebo. Like they were going to him early and often, and then I think he got hurt again. I forget when that was. That was very interesting to me. So I'm wary on both him and Ayuk because obviously Ayuk's the hot thing. He was flashing for weeks straight last year, having like 20 PPR points per game when he was healthy. It was wild. So Deebo's a good value, and you can argue maybe he will be the wide receiver 1 still, but the best thing for a player for us is availability. So if he's hurt all the time, you're not going to be able to use him. I'd rather there's guys here that I'm looking at, again, half PPR, ADP, going around the same guys as Brandon Cooks. Kidding me? Completely undervalued. That team's going to be garbage, right? Houston's going to be garbage, but I'd still rather take Cooks if he's going to be the number 1 on the team. He's going around Robbie Anderson. I don't know about that. Judy, Linda, I don't know how you feel about taking Judy over him, but even the guys that much later in rounds 9 and 10, like Cole Beasley, Curtis Samuel, Corey Davis, I'd rather. I don't know. He's just going. Is round 8 even? Can I even say that's high? He's going high, too high for my palate. Is what I'm trying to say. So the consistency is scary too when you look at his 2 seasons. I don't know. Only 81 targets in his rookie season. Obviously, only 44 last year. He barely played. So.
Yeah, and I'm kind of on the guys' the same boat too. The big thing for me is that his rushing drop outside of his injuries. I mean, you bring in Brandon Ayuk, who can, I think, run even faster than Deebo Samuels on those wide receiver end arounds, whatever it may be. And Jibs, you're right. One cool thing I saw about Deebo Samuels, but all but 2 of his yards were after the catch. So he's catching balls at the line of scrimmage way too often here, and I just don't see him being that vertical threat downfield with Ayuk and George Kittle already on the team. And if Trey Lance takes over this year, I just think Deebo will be a decent wide receiver. He just will never be that productivity that you want in a guy like him that he's flashed in his rookie season. So I'm kind of on the same train as you guys are. I'm just kind of off him. I mean, if I could trade him away, if I can not draft him before round 10, I'll be pretty happy about that. So that's really it is. So. All right. And then over the next one here, we're going back to the running back position here. We haven't talked about running backs in a little bit here, but some of these running backs at this point, now they're 2 years in, you kind of understand who they are at running back, but maybe there's still a chance for these guys. So guys like Devin Singletary, Darrell Henderson, and Damian Harris all kind of haven't really turned it on as they could have as of 2 years in the league now at this point. So Victoria, is any one of these guys still someone you could have faith in?
Probably I'd take Damian Harris here. And that's, I hate that I just said that though, but now I have to talk about it, I guess. Can't go back, no take backsies. His value is pretty good right now for what we believe would be a starting running back in the NFL. Cam Newton is cheeks. I'm sorry if you guys like him, but I think Mac Jones will take over and they'll be more balanced and maybe they'll need a rushing game, whereas Cam is just scrambling because he can't throw because his arm is bum. So I don't know. I think he's a good value. He's probably one of the last guys you're taking that you're like, okay, this guy has the potential to be the number one running back on an NFL team. I'd rather have him over somebody like Darrell Henderson. We already hit on Singletary, so I guess I would take him there. I hate saying that because I never trust the Pats running back. They're very tough to predict, but I think I would take him here in this situation.
That's a perfect way to kind of explain the Patriots backfield. So we have one for Damian Harris. Linda, where are you at on this one?
I was really hoping I could like mix up my answer and give you something else, but like I can't form. I already said my piece on the Buffalo backfield, and like so I'm out on Singletary, and I could maybe make a case for Henderson, but I don't really want to, which is an issue. I think that's like your first red flag is like, I don't want it to be the case. So I'm just not going to even think about it. But like Vic said, the Patriots running back room is always a dumpster fire. I think the first like 4 years I played fantasy football, I had James White on, and I just kept ending up with him. And every year it was exhausting. The year that I had Blunt, though, that was a good year. That was like the only good year when when drafting a New England running back. So it's certainly concerning, but like Vic said, a new quarterback, I don't think Cam lasts the whole year. And I love Mac Jones. So I think I'd take that swing.
Okay, so we got two for Harris. We got a Mac Jones believer in the building now. I like it. Okay. Jibs, where's your head on this situation here?
I feel like he just threw us in a corner. Like he put us with Devil Singletary. Like it's just like all a bunch of bad guys.
That's the whole point of the episode, man. At the end, is there a faith in them or is it done? You got to kick him to the curb.
Oh, I want to go with Damian Harris. Like I'm gonna be done with I think Darrell Henderson is just gonna be like a backup. He's gonna get 10 carries a game. If he gets 60 yards, so be it. But Cam Akers is there for that job, and you could speculate. Hey, it could be Damian Harris. It could be one of the other running backs, maybe Ramondre Stevenson. If you like that take, I see a lot of talk about him, but I'm going to go with that guy who could run. I know he could get me 20 carries, and I know he's not going to make any contribution at all within the passing game, but if he could give me a hot start in the first start of the season, I'll take Harris and find a way to deal with them, way to trade, or find me a running back on waivers as the season progresses.
Okay. I like it. So we got three Harrises. Yeah, I could say Harris easily. I mean, he seems like the safest thing still because he has his. I think he can still have his role in this offense still. I don't think the system is out on him just yet because he was not really playing his rookie year. So I mean, this is his real second year in say of a starting role. But I still want to go Darrell Henderson here. I think he's just being overlooked a lot. I know Cam Akers there, and he's the new hot thing in LA right now, but. You know, when Henderson had his opportunity and before he got hurt, I mean, he was playing really well. He was a top, RB12 the first 8 weeks of the season here. And then he got hurt a little bit, banged up, and then Akers kind of took over. But I'm not 100% convinced that they're not going to keep it somewhat of a committee. You know, you lose Malcolm Brown now, who had 98 carries there. That kind of has to mix in a little bit. You have Matthew Stafford, who I think shall open up the offense here to kind of give these running back duo to kind of somewhere. I think it's going to be closer of a split than people think with Akers taking over like a 70-30. I think it's going to be more of a 60-40 or 55-45 kind of situation here. Because I think Henderson's versatility in this offense kind of makes him a big playability for this offense moving forward. So I'd want to say Henderson. If you still have him, or if you're thinking about drafting him late, I think he still is an option for you in fantasy.
Could you imagine people drafting Akers?
I don't want to think about it.
Very early. And then it's Henderson at the goal line, like week 1, week 2, and people are like, "What?" I don't think it's gonna happen, but
I've never attacked Gibson that way at you. So I don't know why you're.
No, I love
coming at
Akers.
me.
I love Akers, and I will have him
Feels like
on
it.
so many teams. I promise. But I was just, when you're talking about him and you're saying a 55 split, I was like, oh my god, the community will go up in arms. They will be writing letters to Sean McVay.
You got to put those
I already
numbers
read
down.
letters to Sean McVay. That's my boo thing.
Darrell Henderson has more carries week 1. Watch.
Oh no! Oh my
Nah.
god!
That happens.
No way!
That's on Twitter. All right, let's keep moving on here. Let's see. Oh, this is a fun one, of course. Yeah, this is a pretty big topic, guys. All right. Is there
Pepperoni.
any faith in N'Keal Harry, or would you rather have a slice of pizza right now?
Pepperoni.
Yeah, hard pass on N'Keal Harry.
Oh my gosh! Don't you get sad though? I feel like
It's so
goodness. I remember being like watching the draft and being like, why is he falling? Or what are these teams doing? Or whatever. And then being so angry or scared that the Pats got him. And now I'm like, great job, guys.
Do you guys think he needs a new situation to get a reboot? Or is he just bad?
I think he's bad. And I don't say that lightly, because as a mom, I want everyone to succeed. Every rookie that comes in, I'm like, they can do it. But N'Keal Harry catches the ball and sits down. He might as well catch the ball and go straight to crisscross applesauce. And that's he gets touched and he's like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
So that's an issue for me. Just watching him.
A better question is, what's your favorite kind of pizza, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a great question. We'll answer that one real quick. I'll go first since you asked the question, Vic. I'll go first on this. I just like plain pizza, just a plain cheese pizza. I mean, if it was a chicken parm pizza, I'd probably mess with that, but just a plain cheese pizza, I mess with all day, obviously. It's just a classic. But if there's a chicken parm pizza, wouldn't say no.
Dang.
I love me some white slices.
Yes, white, so good.
Hard pressed to say no to any pizza, but yeah, pepperoni is the quintessential in my house. But I do sometimes get the Alfredo sauce chicken bacon situation, which is fire.
Wait, that sounds awesome.
As long as it's not a pineapple pizza in this group here, we're okay.
No, but it's not because I just don't like my pineapple to be warm. I like my pineapple cold. I don't have a huge deal with it. It's just I like mine cold.
I actually like it frozen. You ever have frozen pineapple?
No, that's weirdo shit. That's just as weird as making it hot and putting it on a pizza.
It's for smoothies.
Judging people for that.
I don't know. I put
Okay,
mine in the freezer one day. I got hungry one dessert. I just took it out and I started eating it. I was like, this is good. Okay.
He's eating it like an apple. Putting it in a smoothie is different. You're changing the entire consistency. I'm not taking a bite of a frozen pineapple. No. Nope.
It thaws out.
I feel pretty strongly about this. I didn't know I felt strongly, but I do.
I'm a weirdo and I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know I had that in me, but I apologize.
No, you're okay.
No, never apologize for that. No.
It's a little weird. All right, so let's head over to the final straw here. Now we got 2 questions left for the day. And this is probably the biggest one at this point because the other one's pretty bad. Actually, no, let's do the other one first real quick because this should be pretty easy. Final shot on any of these 4 running backs. They're 3 years done now at this point. Rashad Penny, Sony Michel, Kerryon Johnson, or Justin Jackson. Is there any faith in any one of these guys still to be somewhat of a option in fantasy? The quick question can be no.
Rashad Penny can... I will never understand that. I have so many feelings about Rashad Penny, and people are like, he did good with his opportunities. No, he didn't. He has not been good at all. since he's entered the league, and they took him in the first round. And I find it hysterical that my baby Chris Carson continues to prove a point and then signed with him. I'm all about it. But I guess if I had to like pick one that I thought might do something this season, it would probably be Sony Michel. And again, it's just because of where he's at. So
yeah, this is tough. I'm with you. I'd rather take like DJ Dallas in Seattle, honest to God, over Penny. Gosh, I hate it all. Justin Jackson, he showed flashes when he was replacing, Eckler at certain points, and their line was the worst in the league last year. I did want to say that, Jibs, when you brought up Joshua Kelly. The line was bad. I don't want to give Joshua Kelly an excuse, but I think if Eckler were to go down, I'd want Justin Jackson, though they might not even utilize him and go to a rookie. I'm not really sure. This is all gross, is what I'm trying to say.
Jibs, finish this off.
Pass. Just pass.
That's an option. That is an
quarterback.
option.
Draft a quarterback.
You can pass.
Hey, oh my God, it's just poor situation. Like, you got pretty much 3 injury concerning running backs, and then you have Justin Jackson, who's had his fair share, but like he just never has been able to like make it that lasting impression on the coaching staff. So no, I'll give it to Justin Jackson. Maybe he has one more shot. I don't know.
Yeah,
feeling.
I'm probably gonna just go Penny because he was a former first-round pick, and
sorry.
Again, I'm not confident with that pick, Linda. I am not confident with it at all. But if you have to look at all 4 of them lined up next to each other, Penny has the first-round value still in capital. So, if he's on your team, he's probably being paid a decent amount to be there. And if you're going to be on this team by the start of the season, he has an option. Chris Carson, we know, doesn't play 16 or 17 games now. So, maybe. He might not play a single game this year.
Oh, my God. Miss me with the Chris Carson injury-prone.
I didn't say it was injury-prone.
You said, no. He plays enough games. It's not an issue. It's not a big enough issue that you need to roster Rashad Penny, who does way less with far more carries in comparison to Chris Carson, because Chris Carson doesn't need that many carries.
Chris Carson is the RB2 you want on all of your teams. Yes. The guy, dude.
With RB1 upside, baby.
Hey, let's go.
Nothing made me happy this offseason like Chris Carson being with Seattle.
DJ better than Carson.
No. Wow.
Brandon for the take. No. Chris Carson isn't a legit running back. No.
I just find it so
Your tweet is gone now.
Great troll.
No more now. All right, let's finish it up here for the night. And we'll go into our last topic here. One last guy who's actually relevant. But, we're seeing what the
debatable.
It's debatable. Okay, it's debatable. I guess we're going to have to fight about this one here. Ronald Jones, at times, personally shown flashes, but Leonard Fournette came back. You have Keyshawn Vaughn, who was drafted there, and you bring in Gio Bernard, who is a passing down back, basically. Is there any faith that Ronald Jones can still be something, or is it just not happening in Tampa? Well, would we have to be a move somewhere else? Let's see. Who's going to start on this one? Linda, you go first on this one.
I don't have as strong of feelings about Rojo as I do Rashad Penny, so I can keep it pretty low-key. But like I said earlier, Bruce Arians is a running back room that I'm not stoked to be a part of. That being said, I think either one is a great target for your RB3 or a flex option, and they're going far enough. I think that's totally attainable. And for best ball, absolutely. I love Rojo or Fournette for best ball because you don't have to make that decision. The lineup does it for you. So I'm definitely targeting more in that kind of setting.
That's a better setting for sure. Our boy Brandon said Rojo RB2 guaranteed. Wow.
Guaranteed. Sir. Send me your address right now. And just kidding.
Vic, you can go next on this one here. Tell us about Rojo.
I'm doing the same thing I've been doing. I'm looking at who else is going before or after him in redraft. I do agree with Linda, though. Best ball, I'd take the flyer there. It's just Arians is a guy who's riding the hot hand. If Fournette's not catching balls because he's having a bad day, he's throwing in Rojo and he's going to go for 100 yards. If Rojo misses one block on third down, he's out and he's benched the rest of the game. That's just a terrifying thing to have your running back too. If he makes one mistake, if the coach is mad at him, he's going to sit the rest of the game. So that just scares me. He's a talented guy, though. I would like to see him get that shot this year. But he's going before somebody like Mike Davis, David Johnson, which is, trust me, it's gross, but like somebody's got to try to run the ball in Houston, right? Najee, well, this might not be a great ADP, but Najee Harris is listed here. I don't know. Maybe I would take the shot on him here. But I mean, if James Conner's going after Rojo, I'd rather have somebody like Conner take the shot there. And again, these are values that you're trying to hit on that are not going to be in your starting lineup, but you're trying to hit on later or mid to late draft. So I don't know. I'm with Linda. I don't have a strong feeling, but it depended on how the board would fall to me. But he is a talented dude, and it's fun to watch.
That's for sure, 100%. Jibs, can you give me some positive stuff, or are you on the same page?
Oh no, I'll ride Rojo out one more year if need be. Like Linda said, or both of you guys said, I won't want him as a running back too. Sorry, Brandon. He had to be like at least my third option, maybe fourth if I like load up heavy on him. Because I've been through it last year. Like there's just times where he's just like amazing. He gets you like 100 yards and a touchdown, and there's times where he's getting you 12 carries and 60 yards and is ugly, and you're just sitting there watching Leonard Fournette. We're still boys, Brandon, but you see Leonard Fournette just take it off to the races, and like it just hurts my heart to see Ronald Jones, a great athlete, drop balls like 5 yards in front of with the GOAT Tom Brady throwing it to you. It's not like you're getting Blaine Gabbert or some bum throwing you the ball, and you're seeing Lenny just take all that opportunity. So before Leonard Fournette came in there, Ronald Jones thought his stock was going to go to the moon, but now it's kind of just vaulted. So maybe if the fantasy community gets more pessimistic about him, you could get a nice value in drafts. Hopefully that happens. So Ronald Jones sucks, guys. Don't draft him. Let him go down.
I mean, yeah, if he falls at the right situation, I absolutely would love to have Ronald Jones as my RB4. 3, yeah, I guess, but 4 to be safe and courteous. For me, it is like I like Rojo. I think he's talented. I think he could be a high-end RB2 in the right situation, but this team is telling us and that's not the case. I mean, you bring back Leonard Fournette. Okay, so they're going to split time. They still have Keyshawn Vaughn there. Well, he may not get any work. Who knows? I don't know. Bruce Arians is hyping him up for whatever reason, so maybe he gets involved too. And then you bring in Gio Bernard, who is a veteran who is a pass-catching back. So it just takes away the passing value out of Rojo. And it's either he's going to be the guy who's in between the 20s, and you saw at the end of the season, Rojo was kind of hurt, but Leonard Fournette was taking those red zone opportunities because he just has that ability in him to kind of do different things in that situation. So Rojo, for me, it's just like I love him, but like you just can't trust him enough. And what the offense, what this team is doing, it just doesn't make any sense. So if he stays in Tampa over his career or enlists this season, I don't want really much to do with him. But if he moves on, I'd be intrigued again with his value moving forward. So, or Rojo.
I would much rather my coach be hyping me up, a la Bruce Arians and Keyshawn Vaughn, than my coach say that I am big but played little. Just so we're like 10 out of 10 times, I would much rather my coach be like, he's gonna get all the pass work, and then like not get shit. I'd be like, well, at least he said it. It's on record. Like,
or DJ Shark,
or Meyer being like, oh, we really wanted Tony, but then we took Travis. I guess it's fine.
Oh my god! Imagine what that does to your like. I don't know. As somebody with like no confidence, I can't imagine if my job was like, well, we're gonna hire somebody else, but they got hired, so we picked you. I'd be like, I'm not good at my job. Like, it would be soul crushing.
I feel like a publicist or something. Like he just says irrational things.
Yeah,
very irrational things. It's really bad. I feel like that Tony take isn't more of a hit at Travis Etienne, but it's a hit at Vicious Chenault. Like they're basically the same type of player, but I mean Chenault's kind of bigger. I feel like they would do the same thing. So I feel like that's a hit at Chenault, saying like, we think you could do these things, but we'd rather have Tony to do them things instead. I don't know. That's how I feel about the situation when you said
Just
that.
one more negative mark against Chenault before we
Don't
get out of here.
Yeah.
Nothing whatsoever. Oh God. All right, guys. Well, that's actually going to wrap our show up tonight. So that's Faith or Not and the final straw here. We talked about a lot of players. I got called a weirdo at one point. It's been a really fun episode, ladies. This was a great time. Linda, since you called me a weirdo, I'll let you go first, I guess. Let everyone know again where they can find you on social media and anything you might be working on. You might want to mention.
In fairness, I said it was weirdo shit that you were freezing pineapple, so I didn't technically call you a weirdo, but you can find me at Lindellians. I need to put back out my form, but I am running an all kicker and punter league this year, just kind of for funsies after everybody gave me shit for liking kickers. So I'm gonna we're raising money for charity and gonna make some people draft some punters. So that's on my page. I will repost it probably in the next week or so. And then, like I said, Fantasy Besties, we're going to away a Scott Fishbowl invite on Monday. So check out our page at Fantasy Besties to see how to get in on that action. And then on Wednesdays, you can find me at 9 Eastern at FF_confidential.
All right, so give her a follow, guys. Check her out. Just don't let her know if some food you might be eating. So, so thank you, Linda and Vic. You as well. Let everyone know they can find you on social media and many things you may be working on.
Yeah, you can find me. Sorry, at FFB_Victoria. Doing social media and stuff for BallBlast, having a good old time there, and I got a article for Football Guys coming out soon on Austin Eckler being my guy this season and why I think so. That he'll be fantastic this year. So look out for that soon.
Absolutely. So check her out as well. I know Jib is going to check that out because he's a big Eckler fan. That's for sure.
Yes.
And as always, guys, you can go check out our website at www.thefantasycoaches.com. We got a bunch of things going on. We're going to have some articles popping in, some group articles popping over the next month here. Obviously, we'll be podcasting throughout the month here for Women's in Fantasy Month. And as always, check us out on Twitter at Coaches Fantasy. If you want to follow us individually, you can check me out at Coach Stephen P. and Jibs.
Hot Take Honcho.
Hot Take Honcho with the yawn. I know my boy's tired, so we're going to wrap things up, guys. I appreciate you guys for listening. Ladies, thank you for joining once again. And we will see you guys next week for another fun episode. So take care, guys, and have a good one.